So really appreciate everybody spending some time with us today. Wherever you're at, we do appreciate you taking some time to learn about some of these opportunities. So let me just start real quick by introducing myself. My name is Daniel Knight, and I am the co-founder and chief executive unicorn of Unicorn Universe. And really everything that we do here is designed to help make connections for our community members to achieve their goals. And today we're putting the spotlight on GloVendor. GloVendor is a top of the rainbow company that has a really innovative platform that is disrupting the supply chain industry. And I'm excited to introduce Trinity Wiles, who will be presenting today on mastering product sourcing for small businesses. So Trinity is an experienced entrepreneur in the tech startup space and is passionate about taking products from a concept or idea to market. She is currently focused on helping founders and companies develop new products and manage and expand supply chains as a supply chain advisor on the GloVendor team. So everybody here typically gets to hear from me all the time. So I'm sure you won't be hard pressed to know that I'll be turning it to Trinity rather quickly. And Trinity has been involved with us from the beginning of bringing GloVendor on as a top of the rainbow member. And she's just been really great to work with. So she's going to do a great job giving you guys the presentation today. We want to make it interactive, so if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. You can raise your hand as we go along. And we just want to make sure that, we give you guys an overview on this incredible company that we've been working with and really want to support. So with that, everybody, please give a warm welcome to Trinity Wiles.
Thank you. I appreciate it. First, I'll have Victor just do a couple sentence intro while I'm pulling up my stuff. And Victor here also is one of my amazing coworkers that I love working with here at GloVendor. He also helps our small to medium-sized businesses as well as our referral partners. So I'll let him do a little intro and then we'll get started on the presentation.
Yeah, thanks for jumping on, everybody. Super excited for today. Last 2 weeks I've been part of the Unicorn Universe ecosystem and just the various meetings and meeting a lot of you guys. So it's been great meeting who I have and look forward to meeting some of you who I don't recognize on the call. But just excited to share with you guys with what we do. And like Daniel said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to take them into the chat. I'll be happy to help respond, or Trinity as well. And also we'll say this about Trinity. She is a founder of her own brand as well. So make sure to ask about that. She has an incredible motorcycle apparel company specifically for women. It's really cool. She's just an all-around amazing founder and then also coworker as well. So excited for today. And thanks for the time.
Thank you, Victor. I'm going to start off, guys, with a little bit about GloVendor and also my background and what I do in GloVendor. So I actually came to GloVendor like many other employees as a client, and I loved what they were doing so much that I wanted to join the team. So my background's actually in product development. I started in the software side, got into hardware electronic products, and then really fell in love with the magic of physical products and the physical product experience and supply chain and sourcing. And that's kind of what led me to my career in starting my own brand, as well as joining the team at GloVendor. So I'm based in Nashville, Tennessee, but we have a team that's all over the country and all over the world. We have over 15,000 vetted suppliers. So that means manufacturers around the world, as well as experts. So when you think of experts, it's people that you need in order to help manufacture your product, whether that's a fashion designer for your brand, or it's an industrial engineer for an electronic product or something. We have all those connections and direct relationships. We've really built a powerful network for, small, medium, and even large-sized businesses. So we're really able to serve them. And I work directly with our small to medium-sized businesses, and that's what I love, because I feel like I can truly make an impact And I'd love to see, let me pull up my little card here, but I'd love to see like a raise of hands. How many people have a product business in here? And it's okay if you don't. How many people use products in their business? How many people have an idea for a product business that maybe you haven't, pursued yet, or you don't know what to start with, or you have this idea in your head that you want to create into an actual product? Okay, so we have a mix. Yes. I know a lot of us have those ideas. I want to be able to give you guys sort of like a framework on where to start and give you also the tools. Like, yes, GloVendor, we're here. We can help guide you. We can do it for you. I also want you to take away from this presentation some key points to even start the research or try it yourself. Like however you want to do it, whatever works best for your business. We really want to educate entrepreneurs and help them get to that next goal. So the thing that I love about GloVendor is like most of us are and were entrepreneurs that are on this team. So it was started by serial entrepreneurs. TJ, you guys have maybe met him. He's been at a lot of Universe events. He's a serial entrepreneur. Another co-founder of the business is fourth generation legacy owner of a manufacturer overseas. So he's been in that business with his family for years. So we kind of have founders on both sides. And TJ and some of the other founders were really tired of not only running their businesses, but also having to manage the supply chain and the products within their business. Because that's a full-time job in itself. Anyone who deals with products within their company and developing or anything like that, that it can be a full-time job. So he really wanted to provide a solution for small businesses that's actually affordable and flexible, and giving them the kind of care and attention that you would get at like a large company or consulting company that would come in and help the business. So that's really what the goal here is. We help any business along their journey. So like I said, we have small to medium-sized businesses that we work with. We have an enterprise side division. We can really help wherever you are in the process, whether you're just starting with an idea or you're looking to expand manufacturing. So here's our agenda today, and feel free, I'm gonna pull up this little, I guess I gotta see some faces here. People raise their hands. Daniel, you can just chime in and let me know, or guys just like interrupt me. I wanna make this super conversational. But this is what we'll be going through today. We wanna make sure that when you're starting your sourcing journey or supply chain journey, you understand what your needs are. You wanna find reliable suppliers. You wanna evaluate the relationships with your suppliers, negotiate and manage the whole sourcing process, since there is some sort of project management component to this. So first things first, before we start sourcing, we really need to identify our sourcing needs. So is this a product that already exists on the market, or is this something brand new? What I mean by this is, you see Daniel, are you wearing a Unicorn Universe t-shirt? Yes, he is. So that polo that Daniel's wearing already exists. It's nothing crazy new. He's just customizing it for the Unicorn Universe. Like, that's something to ask yourself. Is this something totally brand new or crazy idea that I've never seen, that I've always thought is amazing? Or is this something that can be modified for my use, for my brand, whatever that may be? You also want to figure out what your target cost is. So this is the cost of the product to you. And the way I always want people to think about this, if they don't know where to start, is where do you want to sell your product? Do any of you guys sell something on, say, Shopify? Or like any other e-commerce site? Maybe, yes, no.
My mom does. She's
Or
got
retail.
a Shopify store.
Casey does, doesn't she? Casey? No? Casey's on. I think she does.
It's okay. I just wanted to use this as an example.
Yeah.
Are you going to be selling direct to consumer online? Are you going to be selling into retailers as a wholesaler? You want to figure that out so you can kind of work backwards to see what that cost would be. Because say you have this cup and you want to sell it to a retailer at a wholesale price. you need to make sure that you still keep your margin and that retailer has margin to resell it. So that's something I like to take clients through the process of, is where do you want to be selling your product, and think about what that costs to make this product has to be in order to be successful in all the ways you want to sell, whether that's on Shopify or to the retailer. You also want to figure out your quantities that you want to order. Sometimes you're not going to know this right off the bat, and that's totally okay. I think a really great starting point is starting with MOQs. And what MOQ means is minimum order quantity. So every single factory is going to have a different minimum order quantity. So if I'm going and I'm like, hey, I want to purchase these cups, they may make me order 100 cups to start. If it's a larger manufacturer, they may have me order 1,000 cups to start. So that's something that's really important to keep in mind when sourcing your factories, is you want them to be able to meet you where you're at with your quantities. You can always negotiate down. Sometimes it's based on like material usage and things that actually go into the product. So there is that sort of bottom floor that you can negotiate down to, but it's always worth trying. But that's a really great place to start if you don't know the quantities. I always say minimum order quantities. You also want to think about frequency of ordering, as well as shipping. Okay, so if you have to deliver this cup to the retail store in 30 days, and it takes 30 days to manufacture and 10 days to ship, you need to think about in your mind when you need to be placing that order. So it's really nice to have all this information kind of in your head, or at least written down and organized before you go to the supplier, so you know what to communicate to them. Also, touching on shipping real quick here too. There's plenty of ways to fulfill orders, right? So if you're selling on Shopify, some people like to fulfill them themselves. Like right now for my own brand, I fulfill out of the storage unit. People order on Shopify, or I send out stuff to my retailers. I go to storage unit, I fulfill it. It's pretty low maintenance right now, but once I get more products and get more orders, I'm going to move that to a third-party logistics, which is basically like having all your products shipped to a warehouse. You're renting space in that warehouse, and when you get an order, they ship it out for you. So that's also an option. Or there's something called drop shipping. Is anyone familiar with drop shipping? I see some nods. You can order directly from the supplier, and they ship directly to the end consumer. Now, I will say a lot of suppliers won't do this. They have to be specialized in drop shipping, and you're probably going to pay a higher product cost than you were if you're just ordering them in bulk, sending them to a warehouse, then shipping them out. Does anyone have any questions on this first slide? Awesome. Okay, so moving into our next section, we really want to think about what type of manufacturer you're going to need. So there's different types of suppliers for different industries, for different use cases. And I'll go through high level here what we're really looking at. Like an OEM, original equipment manufacturer, think of that as a factory that makes parts. So an OEM may be, someone that produces brake pads for trucks. So they're not making the whole truck, they're just making a component of the truck. So that's a great way to think about an OEM. I just touched on the drop shipping one there. Contract manufacturing, this is going to be what most manufacturers are. So basically, if you're coming to us and Daniel's like, hey, can you order me 200 of these Universe t-shirt polos? Yes, we're going to go and we're going to find a contract manufacturer, right? We don't own that manufacturer. We own the relationship with the manufacturer, but we don't actually physically own the building, the equipment, the business. So most of what you're going to be dealing with in supply chain is going to be contract manufacturing, unless you actually buy the supplier yourself. Co-packer, this is a term typically used in like the food industry. Does anyone have a food product business in here, like a CPG or anything, or an idea for a CPG?
I'm in food packaging, but not food itself.
Not food itself.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I am.
well, you are?
Yeah.
I'm scrolling up. Joe, what's up?
What's up?
What is your food-based business?
It is a sauce.
Ooh, what kind of sauce?
Gotta sign an NDA.
Is
Okay,
it a
that's fair,
secret
that's fair.
sauce? It's a secret
It's the
sauce?
secret sauce.
Yeah, it's a cool sauce. No, it's basically a sauce at the end of the day, like a sriracha, or you know what I mean, like a barbecue, like a, something you'd buy at a store on Amazon.
Okay, cool. We'll definitely, get an NDA in place, but you have a great testing group here. I love sauces. So if you need some user testers, I got you. But for that type of business, you're going to be looking at a co-man or a co-packer. So it sounds like if you have your own formulation, you might want to go the co-man route and actually, go through the development process of making that production level. Depends, like when you go from making it into your, say, in your kitchen to actually putting it on the production line, there's usually some things and some tweaks for shelf life and other things that happen in the manufacturing process. But you could, essentially ship it to a co-packer and they label it and ship it out. But that's more used for like private label stuff. And thinking too about where your manufacturer is located is super important. So super important for lead times. So going back to when you need to deliver this product, when you need to order the product, target price point as well. Brand, if you're a made in America brand, you probably want to manufacture in the US, obviously, to be able to make that claim. So knowing who your audience is, knowing the specialization. I like China, really good for electronics. China's really great for mass production of things just because they have the infrastructure already set up. Like if say you're making like a new type of headphone, most likely all of those OEMs and the component manufacturers are going to be in the same district. So it makes it really easy to all send to the assembly factory and prototype and get things done very quickly when that's all being done in the same place versus if you were trying to do it in the US, you'd have to get all the components sent in and do your prototyping and sampling and development, and all the back and forth would take a long time. So there's pros and cons to both. It's really like no right or wrong place to manufacture your goods, but you want to make sure whatever it is, it's in alignment with your business. Does anyone have any questions on this section? Please.
Nope.
We will move on. Now, has anyone ever gone through the process of finding their own manufacturers for their products or products they use within their company?
I have, yes.
Yeah. Bill, where did you start in that process?
I started locally, but then I had liaisons that had introductions in China and India.
Yeah, and that's a pretty common story, Bill. Like a lot of people just start locally or they start with people they know, and that's a great option, especially for starting out and making sure, you're getting the right leads and people that you trust. But there's also specific websites you can use to search for manufacturers. So I have them listed here. Alibaba, this is a big one for Chinese-based manufacturers. Global sources. This is great for, a lot of the Asian countries as well, but it is outside of China as well. Like I think they also have a lot of suppliers for Pakistan as well. ThomasNet, great for domestic resources. So ThomasNet has a ton of US-based suppliers, and Import Yeti. So Import Yeti is a really cool tool It's a website that you can basically go in and put another company's website. So say you have a competitor or a brand that's much bigger than you and you're like, where are they sourcing their suppliers from? You can go and drop their name or their website in, and it'll show like if they're importing via sea, via containers, like you can kind of backtrack and see like what suppliers they're using. Sometimes it takes a little bit of digging. Oftentimes those companies, the big companies anyway, aren't importing under their own name. Sometimes they develop separate businesses so they can kind of keep that disclosed. Sometimes it's harder to find, but it is a good tool to just do some research and see where other companies are sourcing from, if anything at all. So that's kind of like a secret hack that I like to give people. It's also fun to just like poke around on there as well. Another great place is industry associations. So Joe, I don't know if there's like sauce fair or anything, but trade shows in your industry are great. There's always going to be suppliers there, and it's a good way to meet people in person. If you're someone that's very face-to-face, definitely look into that and see who's going to the industry trade shows.
Okay.
I want to say too, not all the suppliers on those websites are amazing. Okay, so some of those suppliers, you know, they're paying to be on that website. They're paying to have visibility. So you need to take it a step farther and actually vet them. They're not all going to be at the same, you know, level of quality, the same. They may be like cheaper prices or whatever, but you got to make sure you're also vetting those suppliers. I know with GloVendor, we take all of our suppliers through a 26-step vetting process. And if they don't pass that vetting process, we won't work with them because we don't think they're going to be reliable or quality enough to our standards and what our clients want. We're not going to work with them. So that's an important part in evaluating the relationship. These are the things that you want to touch on, is making sure they really specialize in what you're looking for. You want to check on not only their minimum order quantities, but their supply capacity. Like, say your company blows up overnight, you have a TikTok go viral, and Joe, you're like, oh my gosh, I need to make sure I can make 10,000 sauces in 4 days. Like, you want to know what that manufacturer, what their capacity is and how many units they can get out per week or per month, whatever that may be. You also want to make them sign an NDA if it's anything super secret, like the secret sauce. You want to have that NDA in place. I know, you know, in general terms, it is hard to enforce NDAs in China specifically, but it is nice to know that they're willing to do that and take that step. And we make all of our suppliers do it as well, just as another security point for anyone developing something new. You also want to see like if they have certain certifications. So if you're developing a child's toy, you need certain certifications in order to sell that in the US. So you want to make sure that that factory has those certifications, or you find a third party that can run the certifications for you. And that factory has to be open to actually having them come in and test the product and make sure they pass all those certifications. So it's not for every single product, like, you know, t-shirts, usually fine, unless you're making certain claims. That's definitely some research that you need to do on your own, or have an attorney look over with you if you're doing anything like that. But making sure that they have certain certifications if that is something that is required for your business. I also like to see if the suppliers have experience with US clients. You want to ask them where their other clients are based, just so you know that they've, you know, done this before, they have reviews, things like that. And aside from those things, one thing I always just analyze too over a broad scale is basically like communication. Do they communicate clearly? Do we understand each other? I know sometimes there can be a language barrier, but also like, do they respond quickly? Do they ask questions? If I go to a supplier and I'm like, I want to make this secret sauce, and they're like, yep, sure, we can do it. And they don't ask any questions, that's kind of a red flag to me. And it's not because like, even I could be the best communicator in the world, but if they're not asking anything to clarify certain things or guide me in the right direction, they're just promising something without even, knowing exactly what I need. So you always want to make sure that they're also invested in it and it's a conversation, because there are things that come up. Even if you're making a t-shirt, like there's always going to be certain questions like what threading do you want, or like logo size, like little details that you might not even think about when presenting the project to them, that they should come back and ask you and guide you in the right direction for. So communication is a big one. A lot of this other stuff you do in your own research in the beginning phases when you're looking at location, comparing pricing, and then you get samples and you're looking at the quality. Is the quality of this cup at supplier A on par with supplier B where I got a sample from? So that's a great way to actually look and compare to, is, getting samples from multiple factories and then deciding what you like or what you don't like. And then when it comes to negotiations, things you can negotiate on: payment terms. So typical, it's like 50% of the payment up front for your bulk order, 50% before it ships. You can usually negotiate that. Some will require 100% depending on the order size. I would always try to negotiate for the payment terms, because that also keeps them liable for delivering on the timeline, because they're not going to get the other 50% until it's ready to ship out. So they're incentivized to actually meet the timeline that you guys agreed upon. New product development samples. I always suggest everyone do samples. Make sure you know what you're getting. And then also when you're getting samples, make sure you communicate with the manufacturer what you should be evaluating on the sample. I'll just give, I don't know, Bill, you're in packaging, right? Or you've sourced packaging before?
Yeah, that's right.
Were your packaging samples, were they the exact same as, let's say, your bulk order of when you ordered, hundreds or whatever that may be?
Oh no, quality went to crap when they went to scale.
Oh no, I hate that. I hate to hear that.
Well, I mean, it was acceptable. But samples are going to be perfection, right? And then, when you're making, 1 million units, it's different.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely want to account for that. That's something, even if you vet the supplier and they're amazing, there can always be things that happen in shipping or defects that happen, in the production process. That's not totally uncommon across the industry. But also to your point, samples can be amazing, and then production process, it may look a little different. So you want to make sure you ask the supplier those questions on what's the process of making the sample versus on the production line. I know, for example, we had like some bags that we were doing for clients, some packaging food to go bags for a restaurant. And the sample bag, like the printing, everything looked amazing, but it was glued because it wasn't made on the production line. They're not going to disrupt the whole production line to just glue one little sample bag where they haven't even gotten the bulk order placed yet. So they gave it to us and they're like, this isn't an accurate representation of the weight it can actually hold because it was hand glued. Like, analyze the sample for the printing design on it and make sure that's quality enough. Don't analyze it for the actual weight it holds, because that's going to be done on the production line with our production grade glue or whatever it may be. So sometimes there are those discrepancies. Sometimes they're better, sometimes they're worse, but you got to know what you're analyzing in that sample. So make sure you just ask them what you should be analyzing and looking for. So you don't get the sample and you're like, this is terrible, when really it's just like their process. So that's something I would look at. Quality control, I would just ask them, what is your quality control process to ensure that 50% of the goods don't leave the factory with them not being checked or like not being correct or whatever it may be. And then ask them, for the terms and who's liable if the product's wrong. Obviously you want them to be accountable for that. I know GloVendor, we take on a lot of that liability outside of the shipping aspect, because that's the carrier that deals with that, but the liability of making sure that order is correct. And just making sure once your order's in with the supplier that you sort of project manage them. I know this can be a whole job in itself, but always ask for updates. Always ask at the beginning of the project what their form of communication is. A lot of times they like using WhatsApp or WeChat to communicate. Those are just messaging apps that are really popular overseas. That's the main form of communication, but make sure you have that feedback loop. And I always check in, like, 5 days into production, 10 days into production, halfway through production. I'm like, where are we at? Are we still on track? Good, awesome. Just to keep them accountable and keep giving you updates. And then inventory management, that just goes back to aligning your lead times, your shipping times, with, when you actually need the product, going back to that cup scenario. So that is my high level on manufacturing, the supply chain process, how to find manufacturers. I'd love to kind of open the floor up to see if anyone has any questions, or if you want to talk about your own business or challenges that you guys have faced and how to maybe resolve those, or how we would go about those. I'm happy to share that as well.
Trinity, you really piqued my interest when you said that you were making food delivery to-go bags. So one of my startups, we have tech in that space. So anyhow, let's take that offline maybe after, but I'd love to just talk to you in broad terms about that. And then you were talking about production versus samples. And I had this electronics product where the battery contacts didn't have the right alloy, and they ended up rusting when they were in storage. And we had to replace all of them. We had to do a recall on everything we had shipped to Best Buy. And we had to do those repairs ourselves.
Oh no.
So, anyhow, it's we should have done our own product testing instead of just assuming the products were good. And that I wasn't in charge, but the CEO was warned, and he just was too bullish for his own good.
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely connect on that first point, but to your second point, that happens all the time. And those are the kind of challenges that you hate to see, because you were like, man, that could probably be avoided. I always tell people when you're developing something new to pressure test it. I was working on a project before I was at GloVendor in sourcing smart mirrors. So if you guys have seen those workout mirrors, we're doing something similar. It was a screen for the home. And we put that in every sort of environment, every sort of weather. We were pressure testing this in different environments to see, how each component still worked, and testing and taking it through that whole process. So that's also a really great point, is actually testing your product. For my motorcycle gear, I go out and obviously ride in my samples and I take them in all different weather. I wash them in weird ways, just to see how the fabrics and things, either break down or maintain. And I always think it's good for whatever you're doing to just test it in the use case or even the environment that it may or may not be, and to know what the limits are.
So Trinity, I just realized who's on here. So Bill Bergen. Bill, what's going on, brother?
Yeah, hey Mike.
This guy is a rocket scientist. I mean, he is a very humble guy, but this guy's done amazing things. You should really dive in on a call with him. Bill is a serial entrepreneur. He's doing major things in the food area. What do you call it?
Food waste. Shelf life
waste and shelf life extension stuff, right? And some of the contacts you guys have sort of in the grocery world, you guys need to have a conversation about. But Bill, I don't know how you got on here, man, but I'm glad you made it.
Yeah, well, so
and everybody else as well.
Well, I'll tell you, I don't, to me, it's manufacturing and supply chain is
Yeah.
less of a challenge for me and I'm really
Yep.
looking for a co-packer because it just
Yep.
saves me so much time. And I know, you take on more risk than you get the reward, but I'm willing to give up that margin to a co-packer just to have kind of a one-stop shopping for, my products. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. No, I totally understand it. And these guys are phenomenal. Trinity and, Victor will serve you well. We'll get you on with the CEO and have some conversations to see what we can do to help. Great to see you, bro. Great to hear from you.
Thank you. Likewise.
All right, y'all. Who else has some questions?
I wanted to just ask, one of my favorite things that really stood out to me with GloVendor is just how you guys are helping reduce cost of goods. And I wanted to know if you could kind of elaborate on how GloVendor is able to pass on some of their bulk purchasing power to help, small businesses leverage your platform.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is one thing I love, like being, a small business owner myself and working with small business owners every single day. I see the struggle of going to a manufacturer loan, trying to negotiate like the best terms or the lowest quantities, and sometimes getting it or not getting it in. One thing that we can do at GloVendor and that we do all the time for our clients is, let me just give an example. Say Victor, Daniel, and I were all separate businesses, but we all want to develop a hat brand, right? So if I were to go to a manufacturer by myself and I'm like, hey, I can only order right now 50 hats. I'm just starting out. I'm brand new. I have to test the market, see if my customers like it. And the manufacturer's like, nope, like our minimum order quantity is, 300 hats. So, we have the ability to use collective buying power and negotiate MOQs down for each individual business. So if all three of us worked with GloVendor, we can get those lower minimum order quantities because we're going in as like a group. And you're only talking to GloVendor. You don't have to talk to all these other businesses and coordinate or things like that. But it's like group ordering power. You can negotiate better terms, negotiate better prices, negotiate better order quantities because we're part of GloVendor in this ecosystem. GloVendor not only, is working with clients and, working one-on-one with factories, but it's like maybe we have 10 clients that use the same factory. That factory wants to keep us happy because we keep bringing them clients. They're more willing to negotiate better terms, better prices because we're going in as a group, if that makes sense.
Nice. So not only does it help reduce the cost of goods, but there's also the accountability and, just kind of that additional trust factor that, you guys are there to ensure that the business who is ordering from those manufacturers get what they expect, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
Awesome. Yeah, I love it. What other questions? I have one more, but sure, let other people go. So my other question is, just really, I know GloVendor can service a lot of different businesses, but what are businesses typically, going through? What are the business owners typically saying that is a good indicator they should schedule a meeting with you and learn more about how you guys can support them?
I think anyone who wants to start a product business doesn't know where to start. We have a lot of clients that have actually come to us that have been burned before by manufacturers. So if you've had maybe a negative experience with manufacturers, I personally like those clients because I feel like we can help them a lot and kind of change their view of manufacturing and really, really help them and add value in their business. And then I would say the third type of client if you're trying to expand manufacturing or diversify manufacturing. So I'll say, probably in the past 6 months, we've had a lot of clients come to us and they're doing all their manufacturing inside of China. And they're like, hey, we need to diversify, like the political environment. We don't really know what's going on. Like, we don't want to put all of our eggs in one basket. Help us find the same quality factories in different locations around the world, besides just one place, one factory. So expanding manufacturing, that's something we can help with as well. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this, we help people wherever they're at in their journey, whether it's an idea or, you're already producing thousands of products and you need to expand manufacturing to somewhere bigger or diversify to a new location or somewhere that can get better lead times or pricing.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate you sharing. And yeah, anybody who fits any of those types of avatars or, is looking to, start their product business, or maybe somebody that has a product business and, whether they're struggling with things or having a ton of success, this could be a really good connection for those people. And not just from a business standpoint, but a lot of the mission and purpose behind GloVendor and their whole team is really something that is worth learning a lot more about, because they're just a really great organization. As a lot of you probably and should know, Unicorn Universe really only partners with and supports those purpose-driven companies that are out there to create a positive difference. And there are a lot of layers to that behind GloVendor. So definitely encourage you guys to schedule a call with Trinity. I did put the link to her calendar just a minute ago. I'll share that again now. You should have that. So you guys can schedule a call with Trinity. Of course, you can also reach out to myself or whoever invited you to the call today, and we will gladly get you connected. So anybody has any questions?
Yeah, I got another question, I guess, for Trinity. Does GloVendor have any limitations with regards to weapons tech or, gun accessories?
I don't think so. I think we've actually worked on like the government side of things. We've worked with clients on some related things that I don't know if I can really go into detail about, but I don't think that's
I understand that space all the time. So this is why I asked the question. Some places so making parts is not a problem, but making systems, you cannot test these systems in 99% of the world. We're the only guy. You don't know how much of a gun culture we have until you try to get some testing done out of the country. It cannot happen. It's you got to do it out here.
Yeah, well, I saw you scheduled a call with me, so I'll make sure to.
So that's really a backup. That's not really. I had 2 projects I wanted to talk to you about. I put in the websites. The gun stuff isn't one of them. I'm looking pretty good for my gun tech with the DoD. So, but we ran into that problem with some of our suppliers. I mean, nobody could test any of our stuff. We had to do that here in the U.S.
Yeah, I'll check on that.
I look forward to our call, Trinity. Yeah.
Me too. Thank you so much, Phil.
Hey, Trinity, thank you so much. It's an amazing presentation, very thorough. One of the questions I would have is for other connectors that aren't on this call. What is the best SOP for us to bring other people to the opportunity side of this to bring potential clients to GloVendor?
Yeah, so we do have a referral permit or a referral agreement and for referral partners. And if you become a referral partner for GloVendor, you can actually earn some commission on the revenue of the project. So that's something Victor actually leads on our team too. So you can either schedule a call for me if you have a bunch of people in your network that own product businesses, or maybe they use products within their business. Like like I mentioned earlier, hospitality, restaurants, anything like that. Like we've sourced furniture for places. So anything that you can think of, anyone in your network that may have a need or, you know, may be worth it for them to explore the opportunity, you can actually get some commission on that referral. So feel free to schedule with Victor. He put his calendar link in here. And then I know you're probably sending out an email with my link. So if you schedule with me, that's fine. Just put it in the notes and I'll have Victor join the call as well.
Any
Cool.
other
Awesome.
questions
Thank you.
Or scenarios anybody wants to run by Trinity? All right. Well, if you guys do have any other questions, of course, you should have her link now and you can reach out to myself. Really appreciate you guys again for being here today, and we will wrap this up. Hope you all have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday and week, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you guys. Have a great one. See
You as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Trinity.
Bye, Michael. See ya.
See you. See ya.